If you're in operations right now and you're looking at DevOps job postings, you probably did what I did, which is to count the number of tools. You've got Docker and Kubernetes and Git and CI/CD and probably a dozen others you've never heard of before. Probably thought in your mind, this is going to take me 2 or 3 years to actually get through before I can get to a better job. The problem is that you don't have a map from where you are right now to where you're trying to get to. And that's what I'm going to give to you today. The 5 areas that you need to cover and how to find the 2 that you need to start on this week. My name is Daryl. I'm a senior SRE with 16 years of experience in IT and 8 years in DevOps. And in order to give you the full picture here, I need to take us back 10 years to when I first started trying to get in. It's 2016. I'm working at an MSP, a managed service provider, which means I was doing help desk IT for 30, 40 companies at a time. I'm making $65,000 a year for my family of 4, and I live in Southern California. It was rough. So, of course, I start looking around for what other kinds of work I can do. I'm heavily in Active Directory and Exchange, and it's all on-prem, and it's all Windows. And there's just not a whole lot to go there, and I feel like I'm capped on the type of earnings that I can do, or working 40 to 60 hour weeks when I'm on call and answering questions at Sunday night for some random doctor who has a spreadsheet they can't get into. I know some of you have been there. Now, 10 years ago, everybody was trying to get into cloud, so I start looking at that. But there's Azure, and there's AWS, and there's Google Cloud, and I gotta pick one. And on top of that, there's all these tools, like I mentioned. Do I know Terraform? Do I know Git? What is all of this leading to, and what is this new DevOps thing that I'm hearing about? How am I gonna learn all of this stuff when I need money and a new job today? So after a lot of soul searching and a lot of research online, I decide I'm going to get an AWS cert, the Certified Solutions Architect Associate. And let me show you how that went. This is the official email that I got after studying for about 6 months for that certification, give or take. You'll notice here that that score is a 52%. That's not good. I did not make it, and I spent $150 or $200 that I didn't have at the time to do this test. It didn't work out very well. It took me another 2 years from this time to get into a software company where I could actually do DevOps work, and then another 5 years before I got the SRE title. The building was never the problem. It was knowing what to build in what order. So here's the map that I had to figure out the hard way. But before that, let me show you the thing that ran me in circles, family circus style. This is the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And we can see we bring together the world's top developers, end users, and vendors and run the largest open source developer conferences. A lot of what the CNCF has done has built DevOps work and the infrastructure and projects around the community from the ground up. And this is what's called the cloud native landscape. When I started looking at this 10 years ago, there were less projects, but probably only by half, maybe a little bit more than a third. It's still overwhelming. You can see some things in here that you may have heard of before, like Helm. You can see Argo CD, Kubernetes is right over here. There's so much here. And this is what I was looking at to try to find what to learn next. And you can see why it took me 2 years. There's no way I could have covered all of this ground. So, the map I keep talking about. There's really 5 different areas inside of there, and the list goes fundamentals, infrastructure as code, containers and orchestration, tying it together, which is CI/CD, and visibility. Let's start at the beginning. You've got fundamentals, what I am actually calling Git and Linux. And again, remember, I was in Windows at this time. I had made a GitHub account, and I'd been running VMs for Linux and practicing sort of things. Actually, I had an old 386 computer that I got from e-waste somewhere. I'd installed Linux on there, but it was very difficult to find ways to do these projects. Nowadays, this is a lot easier for you, even if you're on a Windows computer and primarily working in Windows, because the Windows subsystem for Linux, WSL, is accessible on every single Windows machine. That's where I would start today. Next, you've got infrastructure as code. This is Terraform and Ansible. There's lots of other options as well. So if you're in a company that's using something else, you just need to have something that covers this base. And what it does is it allows you to take your operations experience as somebody who is probably working with servers and networking and hardware and virtual hardware and apply it in a way that moves you into the DevOps world, because code allows you to keep track of what's happening rather than clicking inside the portal and clicking the checkboxes, choosing the drop downs. This is a fundamental skill that you're going to need to manage infrastructure in the modern age. Containers and orchestration. This is Docker, this is Kubernetes. You know you've seen them on the postings. You need at least a passing familiarity with them. Not every company is using containers yet, and you don't need Kubernetes at an expert level, but so many companies are still in that transition phase from moving from a virtual machine running Python on it into a Docker container. So if you have hands-on with Docker, that gives you a leg up. One of the more important pieces here is tying it together. CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment, whichever acronym you want to use. This is the pipeline. All of these tools are used to speed up the delivery with which you can get software out to users and therefore make the company money. But if you're running Git, if you're doing Linux changes, if you're running Terraform and Ansible, but you're having to do all of the steps on all of these things with no connections in between them, that means you're still running all of them. The pipeline is what automates the full thing front to back. And the last one, which is arguably the most important one for getting you a job that I see so many engineers ignoring, because this is really the hard part. You've spent an entire lifetime and a career so far building the technical stuff, from the fundamentals to all of these things, right? Whatever your experience has been, whether you're in networking or in security, or you're a Windows guy or you're a Linux guy, the technical stuff comes easy to you, but the visibility is something that you're just not looking at consistently. This is a portfolio. This is a resume that actually sells with skills that you already have, and a profile online, usually a LinkedIn profile, that can actually get people interested in what you can do for them. I'm calling this the Prod-Ready Pentagon. This is the map I was promising you. I tried to use the CNCF landscape as my map. And of course, it's a globe. It's every single city on the entire world, and I don't know where I am. It's too much to consume all at once. But just the map itself isn't enough for you to actually do something with it. In order to use a map properly, if you remember the Thomas guides, if you're a little older, you need to know where you stand first. So let's figure out where X marks the spot for you where you are right now. And I'll do that by showing me where I was in 2016. This is the Prod-Ready Pentagon scan, and I'm going to walk through it as if I was doing it myself from that time. For the fundamentals, on Git, I had made a GitHub account, but I'd never used Git, so I'm going to call myself a noob there. Linux, I had actually built a couple of virtual machines using VirtualBox on my computer and played with those a little bit with some Linux, so I'm going to put myself at a mid there. You'll see that the little skill pentagon here starts to fill out, so this already should give you an idea of what you should start poking at. Onto infrastructure as code. I'd never touched Terraform. I'd never touched Ansible. I didn't know what they did, and I was confused about what roles they covered in each of their domains. Onto containers and orchestration side of things. Docker, I'd actually built a couple of Docker containers in a home lab for a home media server, so I'm going to put myself at a mid there. And for Kubernetes, I never touched it. I didn't even understand what it did at the time. Tying it together. This is Jenkins, GitHub Actions, Travis CI, Circle CI. These are all the sort of connective pipeline things that you may or may not have done, and I'd never touched any of them at the time. Again, this is noob. Onto the visibility, this is probably where I was the strongest, but I was getting sysadmin and help desk and MSP type of work because I was strong in there. So I'll say the resume, the visibility was working, but for the wrong thing. On the profile, same thing. I'd mostly just uploaded my resume as my LinkedIn profile, so mid. But portfolio, I wasn't showing the new things that I could do in a way that was attracting the right recruiters to me. And now at the end here, it shows you I needed to start with infrastructure as code and tying it together. Those were my weakest points. So you just pick one. I tend to want to go in a counterclockwise starting from the fundamentals. So infrastructure as code is right here on the Pentagon. That's where I would have started at the time if I'd had this tool. You can come here. You can do this. The link is in the description below. I want you guys to try this out. So you're probably not starting from scratch, the same as I wasn't. But go run the scan. Take these 2 items, throw them inside the comments below. I'll definitely make a video for you. I'm going to start working to do one of these a month at least. If I can do them faster without burning myself out, I definitely will. So subscribe and the algorithm will bring you back here. So to recap, do not use the CNCF landscape to find what tools you should learn next. Don't use random YouTube tutorials and Udemy courses. You can watch those, but you need to start with the map. The Pentagon here gives you the 5 areas I think are crucial for you to be learning, and the scan here gives you where your marker is on the map. You pick the top 2, you start working those together. I think it could have saved me 18 months or maybe even only in 3 months, I could have done this. With AI nowadays, you have huge advantages compared to 10 years ago. So please use these advantages that you have now. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.